everyone, welcome back to Beyond Studio Pilates. My name's Hannah and today I want to take you through a really gentle mobility workout that's going to be purely mat based. You're not going to need any equipment for this and this is suitable for all abilities. So we're coming down onto the mat. First thing we need to think about is our setup. So your feet, knees and hips are all hip distance apart. Pelvis is in neutral, so your pubic bone and hip bones should be in a straight line. There shouldn't be an anterior or a posterior tilt to that pelvis. Little gap stays under your low back and under your neck, so you're keeping your spine in its natural S-curve. Eyes to the sky, so make sure if you have a cushion under your head it's not doing this. Also make sure you're not looking backwards. Arms are coming up, so they're palms facing. Feet are staying flat on the floor for now. We're going to take an inhale in the middle. Then we're going to exhale. We're going to take your opposite arm and leg out to the side. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Bring them back to the middle. Hold in the middle for an inhale. Exhale. Other side. So your foot can roll to the outside edge. Make sure your opposite hip doesn't roll towards the leg that's gone out, and make sure your opposite knee doesn't move out as well to compensate. So you're holding that arm and leg on the diagonal, hold it there, and then exhale. As you exhale, remember, think pelvic floor, scooping up a little bit. Inhale, relax it off. Exhale, pelvic floor. Inhale, relax it off. Exhale, pelvic floor. Inhale, relax it off. Now if you want to make this slightly more challenging, you can bring both legs into tabletop. Knees are coming to over your hips, shins are parallel with the ceiling. We're inhaling in the middle still. Exhale, taking that opposite arm and leg away, making sure again that that opposite leg especially stays exactly where you left it. Keeping that leg nice and still. Inhale on your holds, exhale on your moves. So this is a really nice core exercise. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core on, rib to hip connection. Going to do 2 more to each side here. So final one coming up now. And then you're going to bring one leg down and 2 legs down and give yourself a full body stretch. And then rolling yourself back up to sitting. We're going to do a nice mobility exercise for our spine. So we're going to do our threading the needle. If you find that your wrists aren't a big fan of being leant on, you can either roll up a little towel or you can create a fist. That's going to help with that wrist pressure. So we're coming into our box position. Wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips, tilting your pelvis so that tailbone is pointing away from you. We're going to take an inhale in the middle. Then you're going to exhale. Take your right arm through the gap between your left arm and leg. Stretch out through that arm, inhale. And then exhale, gently bringing that arm back down. Hold in the middle for an inhale. And then exhale. Other side, stretching through that arm. Make sure you're not leaning backwards, so keep your hips over your knees. Hold. Exhale. Back to the center. Inhale in the middle. Exhale. So your eye line follows your arm. Hold for an inhale. exhale, back to the middle, inhale in the middle. Going to do 2 more to each side like this. So as you stretch that arm through the gap, take your inhale, release that pelvic floor, and then exhale, bring that pelvic floor and core back into action as you move. Okay, 1 more to each side like this. Okay, then just coming off those wrists for a second, bring them together, little wrist stretch, so my jellyfish stretch. So we're going to just develop that slightly now. I'm going to take a leg out. If this isn't quite right for you today, stick with what we've just done, keep that going. The leg just brings in a little bit more of a balance challenge, but it does mean that you can increase that stretch through your back a bit more, which is actually quite nice. So we're coming back into our box position. Make sure that you're creating a really good box, eyes to the floor. Take an inhale, going to take your left foot out, stick the ball of your left foot to the floor. Then you're going to exhale, take your right arm through the gap between your left arm and neck. So this time you can really stretch. You can lift that hip into the air a little bit. And then on your exhale, you're bringing that arm in line with your shoulder, rotating through that mid-spine, reach to the sky, hold. And then exhale. Everything is making its way back to the middle. Inhale in the middle. Foot comes out, exhale. Through the gap, really stretch through those fingers, inhale. Exhale. Arm comes in line with your shoulder. Rotate through that mid-spine, look to the sky, inhale. Exhale. Arm comes down, leg comes in. Inhaling in the middle again, taking that left foot out. Exhale through the gap. So every time you bring your arm and leg down, make sure you're putting your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Make sure you're not changing that positioning. Really reach through that gap. As you exhale, think pelvic floor. Okay, going to do 2 more to each side. Really stretching the arm through that gap. Okay, 1 more to each side. Really stretching out through that back, rotating through that spine as you lift. And final one. And then you can come back off those wrists, bring those fingertips together again, little wrist stretch. Okay, from here we're just going to do a nice stretch, going to do a child's pose stretch, going to do it to each side as well. So what we're going to do is come back into our box position, then you're going to move your left hand so it's next to your right hand, and then move your right hand round so it's back under your shoulder, so we're kind of on this side plane slightly. Then from here we're just going to sit back, and then we're going to come back up again. So we're going to sit back and then come back up again. Two more here. Final time. Okay, so this time we're going to take ourselves back, hold it there, going to walk your hands around one more pace if you want to, and then just going to stretch out through the left hand side of your back, holding it there. And you're going to come back up. Going to walk your hands back to the middle. Come back up into your box position. I'm in a wide kneed box position. Then you're going to go right hand to left hand moves around. So now we're facing the left. And then again we're going to sit back and then come up. Sit back and come up, keeping that core on, shoulder blades melting down your back, eyes to the floor. Going to do 3 more here. And 2. And final 1. And then bringing yourself down into your child's pose. Walk your hands around a little bit further if you want to, and then stretching out through the right hand side of your back, holding it there. And then coming back up, walking your hands back to the middle, and we're going to come onto our side next. So we're going to work one side, put something in the middle, and then we will work the other side. So coming down onto your left hand side first, making sure that your hip and your shoulder are in a line. So you can always line yourself up with the back of your mat if you want to, and then your feet should be just in front of you. So thinking about your setup when we were standing, I want you to bring yourself into that position now. So feet are just in front of you, chin stays lifted, core switched on, making sure there's a little gap under your low side. Top hand comes down in front for some support. Then we're going to lift that top leg to hip height. From here, you can bend that bottom leg if you need to. We're going to stretch that leg forward just as far as you can without your hips rolling. Good indication of that is if your foot has started to drop. It's often the case that you've rolled yourself forward. Keeping your hips really stacked, just bring that foot as far forward as you can without those hips rolling. Going to point your toe, bring that foot back just behind the bottom leg. Again, don't let those hips roll. Also, good indication is if you feel like you're going to lean back, you want to arch your back, that's a good indication that you're taking that leg too far. Keep thinking rib to hip, that will help you. So we're going to flex that leg forward and then point that toe back. Flex that leg forward and then point that toe back. Really opening up that hip, working into those glutes, stretching out that leg. Try and make your leg longer. Try and really reach to the corners of your room. Remember, your front hand is there for some support, but shouldn't really be kind of like white knuckling the floor. If you are, you're probably also rolling your body forward. Keep that core switched on, nice and stacked in those hips. We're going to do 3 more here. Really stretching that leg. See if you can just reach it a little bit further behind you and then let it travel forward. 2 more. How far back can you get it? How far forward can you bring it without those hips rolling? Final time here. And then bring that leg back to the middle. Bringing that leg down, you're going to bend at the knee, get hold of your foot. Then, keeping that core switched on, just going to gently take that knee backwards. So you can feel that stretch in your quad, but you're not letting that back arch. Hold it there. And gently letting go of that foot, bring that leg back down, and then we're going to go on to our backs next. So we're going to do a really nice lower back exercise next. So we're coming down onto the mat. Feet are hip distance apart, knees are in line with your hips and your toes, core switched on. You can keep your hands on your hips if you want to, just to give you some feedback on this one. It's a really little move. All we're going to do is we're just going to slide our left hip towards our left heel and then back to the middle. I'm just going to slide our right hip towards our right heel and then back to the middle. So just sliding left to left, right to right. Everything else stays nice and still. So it's a really slow, controlled move. It's going to help to alleviate any stickiness in that lower back. Going to do one more to each side here. So final time to each side, really stretch your hip towards your heel. And then back to the middle. Then from here you're going to take your right leg out long, pop your left leg on top of your right leg, bring your left arm out to the side and then guide your right leg over to the left hand side, your left leg over to the right hand side of your body, holding it there. Then coming back to the middle, sliding that leg out, bring your right leg up so it's sitting on top of your left leg, guiding that right leg over to the left hand side of your body, holding it there. And bringing that leg back up, giving yourself a full body stretch. And then coming back up to sitting for me. Going to go on to our other side of side kick from here. So we're coming down onto our right hand side this time. Thinking about that setup, so remember, shoulders, hips in a line, line yourself up with the back of your mat if that makes life easier. Then toes are just in front of you. So you can always think of the back of your body is in line with the back of your mat, and then your toes are in line with the front edge of your mat, as long as you haven't got a really wide mat. So if your feet are out here somewhere, that's probably not quite right. Roughly in line with your mat probably is about right. Core on, a little gap under that low side. Bend that bottom leg if you need to. Top hand in front for some support. Keep your chin lifted. Try not to look down at your feet. Lifting that top leg to hip height. We're going to flex it forward and then we're going to point it back. Seeing how far forward and back you can take that leg without those hips wobbling. Core stays switched on. So your core's doing a really important job here of keeping you nice and stabilized on this thinnest side of your body. Doing really well, everybody. Taking belly button to spine. Keep those hips stacked one on top of the other. See if you can bring that leg forward a little bit further this time. Can you reach it a bit further forward? Can you reach it a bit further back? Hold it there for a second. Try and hold that move and then move again. We're going to do 3 more here. And 2. Final 1. And then bringing that leg back to the middle, bending, picking up your foot, core switched on, so make sure you don't arch your back. Gently take that knee backwards, feeling that nice quad stretch. And bring those knees back together. Extend out through that leg. And then you can bring yourself back up to sitting for me. Okay, from here, we're going to do a nice little exercise for those quads. So we're going to come to sitting up nice and tall. Make sure you're sitting on those sit bones, so make sure the bony bit is on the floor, you're not rolling back onto the fleshy bit. Arms are just supporting you slightly, so they can be slightly behind you or next to your side. Just make sure you're not slouching down into them. Think shoulder blades remaining down. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. Going to imagine your feet are at 12 o'clock. And then from 12 o'clock, your right foot is going to tap to 1 and then tap to 2. Tap back to 1, tap to 2, and then your left foot is going to go 11, 10, 11, 12. So you can make your clock as big as you want to, so you can keep it nice and small if you need to, or make it slightly bigger if that's okay. Try not to really lean back as you lift your leg. Try and keep yourself as upright as you can and just make the top of that leg work. So we're making those quads work, working into the front of that hip. You can bring your arms off the floor if you want to. That will give you more indication of if you are leaning back as well. One more to each side. Okay, making this your final one. Okay, then from here, we're going to bring ourselves into our pigeon stretch. So we're coming into a box position. Going to bring your right knee forward so it's just behind your right hand. Then you're going to slide your right foot forward so it's in line roughly with your left hand. It doesn't have to be right behind it. Then you're just going to slide that left leg out so your left leg is out straight along the floor, holding it here for me. So you should feel that stretch kind of around your glutes and hips, holding it there. See if you can develop that slightly, so see if you can come down any lower, holding it there. yourself back up. So hands back to the floor, tuck your back toes, push yourself backwards. Left knee this time comes behind your left hand, left foot gently behind your right hand. Slide your right leg out so it's straight along the floor, holding it here. Just kind of release into that stretch. And again, just see if you can develop that slightly. So just come down a little bit lower. If you can't stay where you are, that's totally fine. Then tucking those back toes, walking your hands back up, finding your way back to sitting. Keeping yourself sitting up nice and tall again, so making sure that you're growing towards the ceiling. Keep thinking about having something on top of your head, push it towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to stretch our left arm out along the floor. Reach as far as you can along the floor, and then you're just going to continue to reach through that hand. Bring that arm up so it's in line with your shoulder. Once it's in line with your shoulder, we're going to bend towards the left through our spine, keeping those sit bones on the floor again. Should feel a nice stretch around your hip. Inhale. Then exhale. Stretch that arm towards the left a little bit further. Then you're going to reach up into the air, really stack that spine back again. Right hand continues to reach to the right hand side, gently back to the floor. And then you can walk that hand in other side. So left hand stretches out and away, reaching up into the sky. Once it's in line with your shoulder, bending through that spine. Keep your sit bones on the floor. Nice stretch through that hip. Inhale. Exhale. Stretch to the right a bit further. Then again, reaching that arm up into the air, back to sitting. And then gently bring that hand back down to the floor. Going to bring your arms in front of you, bring your hands together, keeping your sit bones on the floor. We're just going to dive forward. Imagine you're diving into a swimming pool. Again, feel that stretch through your lower back and maybe into those glutes a bit. Hold it. And then come back up to sitting. We're going to do that one more time. So hold at the top, inhale. Exhale. Diving forward. Hold it there. Shoulder blades melting down your back. And then again, gently coming back up to sitting. And then we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me for my mat work favourites proper chilled out class today. Hope you really enjoyed it. Have a super day, drink plenty of water, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.